Hello and welcome to another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. I'm Wayne Highlander, National Sales Manager for Bona Adhesives.
And I'm Rob Johnson from Bona Training.
How are you today, Rob?
I'm pretty good, my friend. How you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. We got a couple special guests with us today. Do you want to introduce?
Oh, we got a big day.
Yeah.
My boys are with us today.
Yeah.
The whole team is here. Well, not the whole team, but
yeah,
a good portion of the team is here today.
Matter of fact, you better be on your toes today. You got your boss here today, so let's sit up straight on that chair there, fella. There you go.
Okay. I even wore the uniform today.
I saw that.
Yeah.
You're not in trouble, are you? That I don't know about. Your boss is sitting in today.
Am I? I don't think so. No,
yeah, good. All right. Okay.
No, we had a peculiar week last week, but we weathered it, man. We weathered the storm.
Good. Well, let's not keep them hanging any longer. A lot of people in this industry already know Dee Lenston, and everywhere I go and travel with Dee, I've said it before. I mean, I don't know anybody who's more well liked across the industry, and than Dee. And he's got a long legacy now. And this, how long have you been with Bona, Dee?
20 years come January.
Wow, it's a long time. Long time. And Dee, why don't you introduce yourself and kind of your job title and what you do for Bona now? You've done a few different things, but what you're currently doing.
Sure. So I'm Dee Lenston. I've been with Bona 20 years come January. I am the technical and training manager. My official title is professional sales training manager, but I manage the training and tech department. And I'm not Rob's boss. I just manage the department that Rob works in.
Who is Rob's boss?
The word boss means that, you're bossing people around. So I like to refer to it as I just manage the department, and Rob's my right-hand man and gets it done on the East.
We're very opposite in that regards.
And I thank God for that every day. I mean, Wayne, man, I love you like a brother, but Dee is a coach, man. Dee is the kind of guy you want coaching you, not you. I don't see a lot of pats on the back and hugs and
no. See, I feel like by the time you got here, I shouldn't need to coach you. You should already be the man. So yeah.
And so, as I mentioned, I manage the tech and training department. We do all things training, and that's what we enjoy doing. So from our 3-day schools to distributor, anything we can help out with. We're basically a support group to our sales team out there, whether it be TMs or adhesive managers, even our sport managers. Whoever needs us, me and my team, we really enjoy, just helping out. Our goal is to know all things Bona. And so when it comes to the features and benefits and, teaching from that aspect, we enjoy doing that.
Well, Dee, you've got quite a roster now. I mean, you got to be quite pleased with yourself. You've got some talent on your team this year, and you always manage to put together a great training team and a great training schedule and the curriculum, and you keep it updated and absolutely a big part of our sales team, as a matter of fact, right? So
exactly. Really excited about the new arrival.
When I heard about Dee's new guy on the roster, I called him up and I said, "Man, this is your biggest free agent signing ever, Dee. This is huge this is a big move for the team, man. We got amazing." Go ahead, Dee. Let's.
A great acquisition. I definitely don't want to. I'd like for him to introduce himself, but yeah, the addition to my newest team member, it's just really going to make things, a lot easier on myself as well as the team. Because as I mentioned, Rob's been killing it on the East Coast, and I definitely like to have my newest guy help out from the Midwest to even coming out west at some point. So without further ado, my newest team member who will introduce himself, I'll introduce him as Mike Dittmer, but Mike, tell us a little bit about yourself. I think that's the way it works. I mean, It's the Wayne and Rob show.
But that's
The Wayne and Rob show.
The Wayne, yeah.
D, just let us know when you're done. And
It's all yours. You guys go
That's
ahead.
how this show rolls, man. There really is no, we got some notes.
No rhyme
but
or reason.
That's it.
Well, I'm at a loss for words. All I can say is thank you for the great introduction, gentlemen. I'm thrilled to be on board on the Bona team. I've been I've been in the industry for my whole life, from grade school through high school through college. I worked with my dad on the job since I was in the second grade. I mean, when we had nothing to do, my dad would have us work like the new construction job sites and sweeping and hand sanding between coat to finish. And when we had nothing to do, we'd go around to the empty, they were doing new houses back then, and we'd look for pop bottles that the tradesmen left there and bring those home and get the nickel or a dime or a quarter for the pop bottles back in the day. So, we've been doing it for a long time. And so I through grade school, through high school, through college, we just kept upping our game. I took over my father's business 25 years ago. My father had a business called Hank's Floor Service, and then I grew that business from my dad and myself and a helper to when I sold the business. We had 10 guys. We had 3 crews going, and we were doing over $1 million a year in sales. It was really a great business we ran. And so we sold that business to concentrate my efforts on raising and taking care of my twin boys that are be 24 in about a month now. So that's kind of a little bit about me.
Where'd you work? What was your territory, Mike?
Our territory was pretty much the Chicagoland area. About 20 years ago, we moved to we'll say north central Illinois, and we did about 40 to 50% of our work out here, but the rest of the work we remained to do in Chicago and in the suburbs. I mean, I've got clients that I've worked for 35, 40 years with my dad. That, matter of fact, 2 of them I had worked for this summer. So we had some clients that we did their primary residence, and we went to Florida a handful of times to take care of their, second or whatever, third houses in Florida. But primary, the Chicagoland area was our market.
it's amazing how much you and Rob actually have in common. I mean, Rob still goes to those job sites looking for Coke bottles to turn in for.
I can't believe you took that from me, because I was going to say, at the last sales meeting, I saw Wayne going through the garbage cans in the office, getting those nickel bottles there. Good one, Wayne. Very good.
Boy.
Let me. I have a question for Michael. This listens to your background. Did you ever consider anything else, or did you say, you know what, I'm sick of it. It's all I've known is hardwood floors. Let me try something else before you dove, all in on this, or was this you knew from the beginning this was what it was going to be?
I relatively knew from the beginning this is what I was going to do. While I was in college, I had a unique opportunity. I captained charter boats on Lake Michigan for 4 years while I was in college for 4 summers, and I loved that and enjoyed that. And the money was pretty well, but it was a very transient lifestyle, because you really only could work in the Chicago area from April until October, and then you had to go to wherever it was warm to continue to work. And so in my 20s, I realized that I didn't really, in order to to be a parent and to have kids, didn't really offer that kind of a quality of a lifestyle to be able to be a parent. And so I decided to continue working with my dad after college, and I enjoyed to do it. I mean, the work was always fascinating to me, and it was always a challenge. The customers were always great to work for, and I just love to do it. It's fun to do. It's fun to see the look on the customer's face when they see the job completed, and then it's very satisfying to see when you show up to these jobs and they look, I don't know, you look like you can't even salvage them, and you get done at the end of the day, and it's like a work of art. And that's really why I enjoy to do it. I mean, because it's just the transformation that takes place from start to finish is always amazing.
Dee's style has always been Rob talks a lot about coaching, and Dee's style is a lot the same way. And in all seriousness, when I'm around Dee and watch him talk to his guys, and Rob, how he talks to his guys and the students in the class and everything, and coaching is very much a part of it. And why I think you'll be such a natural and great fit for this role is that I've also been around trainings watching you. And you have always been very giving of your talent and your techniques and everything, and sharing everything that you know. And so I just think it just really is going to be a fantastic fit in addition to the sales team. So.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I just, I enjoy to teach others, to help them improve their skills or their game. I personally, as a contractor, I realized the value in training. I mean, because I look at where we were at 20 years ago and the type of work we're doing 20 years ago to the type of work that we're doing now, and it's like night and day. And it's not like I learned this stuff on my own. Other people taught me, and I saw different techniques and different ways of doing things. And so it's with this training that you can, I up my own skills, and I want to help other people up their own skills, so that really it makes their job easier and helps them to earn a greater income.
And I'll say this, and then I'll shut up because I know Rob's got a lot of questions he wants to ask you. But you just bring up so many things when you talk, and that back in the old days, they say 20 years ago or beyond, when you really knocked the floor out of the park, it kind of felt like you were climbing Mount Everest. You know what I mean? It's like, you're exhausted mentally and physically, all the handwork and all the things that went into the job, and learning things on your own and getting there the hard way and trying to figure it out and everything. Versus today with the tools that are out there, the techniques that we have now, the different intercoat abrasions, the power drives and these type of things, the game has just gotten easier if you stay up with today's technology. Even the vacuum systems and everything, and every way you look at. I sometimes go back and look at the floors we did years ago that we thought were 10s, like wow, we really knocked this out of the park. And I'm sure if we, like you say, if we were to go back and look at some of them floors today, I mean, they probably wouldn't even meet our standard. I'm sure they would, of what we're capable of doing today.
With that being said, I might have told the story before, but when Bum was doing floors, one day he sent me a picture of this gnarled up floor that he was on. It looked like some guy had top nailed like 3 or 4 boards out. There was all kind of separating and rusty holes in the, it was just ugly, just an ugly ass floor. And I texted him back. I go, "What a hack." And he goes, "Yeah, you did this one 20 years ago. Mrs. McGillicuddy," he says hello. I forget her name. So that's when I was like, everybody should go back and take a look at the work they used to do. You'd be surprised how far you've come. And speaking of that, Dee, I forgot to tell you, Dee, we're in a lot of trouble, you and I, on this podcast. Because I found out last week, Mike came with me to Mississippi to do a training, and Mike also won Floor of the Year. So cue the music, Chris. Mike's won Floor of the Year. Wayne's won Floor of the Year. I'm shocked, actually, that they let you and I on the show.
You know what? That's what I enjoy about training, and is that I'm always learning. I mean, I know a lot about Bona products, the processes, best practices, and all those things. But yeah, the experience that those two fellas bring to the table and to the Bona team is just, way outside of the regular strip flooring that I was doing, and with an occasional put a border in there, maybe felt good about throwing it.
Brazilian cherry border, and I laid that feel on a diagonal. Look at me go, man. I'm putting this one in Floor of the Year. A guy last week, I was up doing, presenting something, and the guy asked me a question. And as I was answering the question, I looked And I looked right at Mike and I went, oh man, I got to answer this for the floor of the year dude in the room. So I said, well, look, everybody, Mike Dittmer is here, the Mike Dittmer, floor of the year recipient. Why don't we ask him? And then that was it. That was it the rest of school. Every time there was a question or something, they'd be asking me, but always looking at Mike, just to get the nod. Yeah, he's right. Yeah, we can go with that. That one's okay.
I would say now we both know how that feels when our younger team members tell us, man, the guys will ask me a question. They look right over at you or Rob. And it's like, why did they even ask me? It's just one of those things. You just have to humble ourselves to understand that there's always somebody that's done more than we have.
I can't believe it. I know. I can't believe it. Wayne, Mike and I were talking, I know you guys get a really nice trophy and everything.
Yeah.
But
That's the
we
rumor.
were thinking that you still probably didn't get yours, did you?
Not yet, but it's coming.
I know the guy over there. I'm going to give him a
Yeah.
call and make
No,
sure that you get that.
It's coming.
Well, Mike and I were talking like, yeah, it's nice that you get the trophy and everything, but maybe like a rodeo type belt buckle or maybe like a Super Bowl ring, something that you could wear, every day or to big events.
I like the idea of the belt buckle.
I thought you would. I had a feeling you would.
WFOY, like a huge belt buckle plate that I could wear. Yeah. Well, you'll hear me talk about mine, kind of jokingly until Mike shows up. And then I know my role, I'm my pecking order in life. And I've said that when I found out we're getting Michael Dittmer to work with us, that if there's 4 aces in the deck, that he's one of those aces. I really do feel that way about Michael. And so, yeah, his was a legitimate floor of the year. I only had to compete against manufacturers. He had to compete against everybody. And so, yeah, that's and was Michael, was that your first one?
That was the first one I've ever won. I probably entered, I don't know, 10 or 15 in the past, but it just, the stars weren't aligned. I guess this was my lucky year. That's all.
That tells you how stiff the competition is, man. I mean, we've all seen these floors out there that are just, once in a lifetime floors, and sometimes they don't even win.
Mike, tell us about the floor a little bit.
The floor that we did, it was in a house that was in the Hyde Park neighborhood of Chicago, which is right next to the University of Chicago and the Field Museum in Chicago. It's in a good neighborhood, and it's a historic house. The house was built in about 1880, 1890, and the clients, they've got a couple little kids. So we had done some other restoration work in their house. We first started, the back side of the house was settling, and it settled a lot, maybe like 2 inches in a 20-foot span. So you walk in the second floor hallway and you would just like walk downhill 2 inches. And so she couldn't find anybody to come in and level her floors for her. And so somehow she got a hold of my number, and we worked to come up with a solution. So we pulled up the existing wood floors that were there. We used 2x4s and plywood, leveled it off, and reinstalled her original floor. It was really important for her to keep as much of the original as we can. And then we leveled that off and took care of that. And then we did a couple other bedrooms upstairs. And then she approached us with this living room area, because the existing floor was getting to the point where it was the thickness of a credit card in some places, and the nails, the original floor was nailed down. And so each 12x12 parquet pattern had about 48 to 56 nails for each 12x12. And so these nails, you would set them, and the pieces, if you'd set them so they wouldn't get their socks caught on it, the pieces would get loose and start, laying around the rooms, because it wasn't adhesive down. And so we hemmed and hawed with looking at some alternatives. She really wanted us to remove all the existing floor, fix the subfloor, and then relay that original floor. But after trying to do some sections to see if that would work or not, we realized it was going to be in vain, and that we should just get new material made identical to match the original product. And so that's what we did. We specified out exactly the original species that were in that floor, and had made up the original 12 by 12 parquet pattern, and then reinstalled it exactly the way it was original, with some of the defects in it, because it was kind of funky, because it had a bay window, and in the center, we're going to say the center was 4 feet, but on the left, and it was like 3 sides. So on the left side, the parquet pattern was only 3.5 feet, and on the right side, it was 4 feet. And so henceforth, the left and the right, it was in balance. And so when we reinstalled it in balance, just to match the original that was there, because that's how they did it.
I could have helped you with that. I could have definitely helped out with something like that. Dee's laughing at that. Dee likes it. Dee knows exactly what I'm talking about there. Yeah, it's slightly embedded. Exactly. That's
Well, it's one thing doing a new floor and a spectacular new floor, but when you take an older floor like that, you can bring it back to life and up to standards for today. That's got to be, I think, even more satisfying. You know, how old did you say the floor was?
The original floor was from the 1880s. Yeah. As a matter of fact, what we did is we saved about a 4-foot section of it, and of the original floor, and it has like a cotton fabric backing on it. And between Lenny Hall and Brett at the NWFA, they have the original piece of it on display at the NWFA headquarters now. Because I'm a wood floor history buff. I'm always fascinated by the history of it all. And there was nobody that I've ever talked to that has seen this fabric on the back of the old parquets before. And so Brett thought it was a good idea to keep that and to frame it, just so people can understand like the history behind how these parquets were made back in the 1800s in order to maintain that.
That's interesting. Yeah, I too, I love the history of it all. I think it's pretty cool. I would imagine, working in Chicago area, that you were in a lot of historic homes.
Yes, we were. We've worked in two Frank Lloyd Wright houses we worked in as well too. There's one in Chicago on Sheridan Road that I did the floors in with my father. Then there's another one in Riverside, and I did the floors when I owned the company in Riverside for the client. Amongst other, historical homes. But the Frank Lloyd Wright houses were pretty cool. I think even way back in the day, I'd have to look for it, but my dad was interviewed for some home magazine. This was probably 35 years ago or 30 years ago when we did the work in the Frank Lloyd Wright house in Chicago.
Well, Dee, you know how it is. These floor of the year guys, man, this could just go on forever. And like I said to a woman that was at the training center or the training last week, she was like, "Yeah, floor of the year, is that a big deal?" I was like, "Floor of the year." I go, "Let me tell you what floor of the year is. It's the Academy Awards, okay? That's how it is." And Mike corrected me. He goes, "It's more like the Nobel Prize. That's what the year is." Academy Awards doesn't give it justice. But let's switch gears here for a second. Dee, we're excited, man, about 2022. Let's start talking about what's new for Bona training in 2022.
Yeah, so exciting piece is one of a new facility. When I say new, we're definitely in Nashville. Really looking forward. I haven't had a chance to get down there and check it out, but I know Rob and Wayne has been instrumental in kind of making that thing come together. So it's nice, when folks come down to Nashville, they expect us to have a nice place down there. And we were thankful for the place that we have been able to train out of, but it was time to make a move. So I'm excited for that. And Nashville's been tough for us to get all those guys down there who've been wanting to come to the Nashville training. So we have about 27 schools we're going to do in 2022. I would say the first and maybe the first 5 out of 7 are already sold out. And that's just because we're still trying to train guys from last year, whether it be due to COVID or in this case, due to us moving facilities. But so excited about that facility. Man, let's see. We have about 12 regional training centers. I would say most of them are kind of standalone, but we do have a few that are attached to some of our distributors, and we appreciate them allowing us to use that space. I think Toronto is another location where we're hoping to, well, just all of Canada between Toronto, Calgary, and Vancouver. There's quite a few contractors that have been waiting for us to get the green light to go up there and continue training. Types of schools, and of course, new. We just spoke to Mike Dittmer, Floor of the Year award winner, Mike Dittmer.
Don't let it go to his head, okay?
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, Wayne, we know you won one too, but we're going to try to do different type of schools. I mean, installation, although, we normally rely upon NWFA to kind of handle the installation side, but with Wayne leading an adhesive team, and we want to be able to show gluing down some of the different types of floors, or I should say layouts, and we'll do some nail down in some of our, and this won't be new for every RTC. We're going to select a few RTCs where we might be able to do some installation, especially now having Mike on board, and Wayne and his team will probably take more of the lead on that, using tech and training to help out where we can. Color school, I know Rob has already put together the layout on how that was going to look, and we're hoping to be able to offer a color school where we dealing with different type of colors, aniline dyes and paints and the sealers and things of that nature. So Rob has a really good understanding of the color wheel, so he'll be sharing that knowledge in the few color schools that we'll definitely have at a few of the regional training centers. Distributor trainings, TMs are going to take the lead on some of these distributor trainings, and any support they need from us, we'll definitely offer. We're going to break down our training book into small segments based on the product categories. That way, if there's anything in particular that territory managers would like to train on, if they're not doing a full training, they'll be able just to pull those. They'll have pamphlets or booklets just for the different sections. If someone wants to focus on finish and sealers, they won't have to have the whole training manual. So I'm looking forward to that. We also discussed working with some of the retailers, floor covering dealers or retailers, and doing an installation school for them. They reach out to a lot of flooring contractors and maybe even specify, what glue to use. So I think with us being able to reach out and have that direct contact with some of these floor covering dealers and educate them on our adhesives and why it's best to recommend the Bona adhesive with all the flooring that they're selling. Wayne and his team, again, will take lead on that. So, and then the last thing, we're changing the school from, it's always been a 3-day school over the past 2 years, but we're moving it from a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday school. And I'm hoping that, that'll work out for everyone. It gives folks a chance to get their job started on a Monday for some of their crews, and then they can fly in that Monday evening and get back for Friday so that they can, follow up to see how the week went, at their businesses. So, hopefully it won't affect too many folks, but we're going to give it a try in 2022, this new Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, instead of the typical Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's about all I have at this point.
That's a busy year.
And he had to throw Wayne in as Wayne's installation school. So I can't wait to be toting stuff around on that school. Rob, go get me another coffee. Okay.
Wayne will be the boss. He will be the boss of those schools. So
he'll be the boss. Oh
boy.
I know how that really works.
That's a lot of stuff, Dee. Anything else?
Yeah, we weren't present so much as we used to be at the NWFA trainings, and man, we really missed that. I know that Brett has reached out to myself and Wayne and asked, if we would be able to attend some of the schools. It just, man, it got so busy with COVID and all the training that we had set up. So I definitely want to make sure that Bona gets back at the NWFA schools, and I think having Mike on board will, basically being shorthanded, and as our team has been, now that I have Mike, and Mike's already, he has that in with the NWFA being a regional guy. I think that's really going to be helpful for our company and the team to be able to have a presence like we used to at the NWFA, because I know students sometimes are asking, hey, why isn't Bona present? And it's just been due to, man, we've just been busy and a little understaffed on our team. So I'm happy to have Mike on board to really to help lead some of those NWFA schools representing Bona for sure.
Hey, Mike, let's take the lead on that. How'd you get involved with training?
I got involved in training about 16 years ago. One of our local distributors, Erickson's Flooring and Supply, they have like 5 different locations in Illinois, Michigan, Indiana. Rick Walters, who runs that over there, asked me if I would just back then they would have really big distributor shows. So they would have a big distributor open house, and they would attract 150 contractors and retailers to these one-day shows that they put on. And so it was like an open house, and they would have classes throughout the day. They had door prizes and such, meals there, and they really attracted a great crowd. And so Rick asked me to come in and just, talk about, say, for example, installing parquet floors. And so I would talk about installing parquet floors, or how to do a lace and weave. And a couple of years I was very fortunate and was teaching a class with Tom Piotr from Oshkosh Floor Designs. And so I would teach with Tom in conjunction with Erickson's how to, cut out to put in a fancy Oshkosh border, or put in one of the medallions, one of the stone medallions. And so I started back then with the training, and then simultaneously I was taking all the NWFA classes. I taking the basic, we took the basic, the intermediate, the advanced, and then we taught the expert school. And then once I had done all those, they had Steve Seabaugh asked if I would like to help assistant instruct NWFA schools. I'm like, sure, that'd be great, because it's great to work with colleagues in the industry and guys that are always trying to excel and try to do their best. So it's really great to have that camaraderie of working with such a great group of people and learning from all these people. And once I had done a few classes as a assistant instructor, then I was invited to be a lead instructor. And then I became a lead instructor for all the different levels of NWFA classes. And then when they began the regional program, and I'm going to think that was about 8 years ago, a regional instructor program, I was asked to go on board to be a regional instructor. And so I would go around the country and teach the NWFA classes throughout the country. And so it's really great, because you really learn regional problems that different floor contractors have. I mean, because my environment in the Midwest is completely different than the environment in, say, Atlanta. And so it was interesting to see the even though we do the same trade, the same craft, we have our different issues that we have to contend with because of our location. And so it was interesting to see the problems that the other contractors had to address in their regions and comparing to ours. And then, we would, compare our solutions to what our job site problems and issues were. And so it was really fascinating to do that with NWFA.
Did I hear you say the NWFA recognize you? Let me try that again. Recognize you as an elite instructor?
No, not as an elite instructor, a regional instructor. So like a regional instructor.
Did you guys hear him say elite? I swore he said elite instructor.
No,
Because if there's something out there called elite instructor, I'd like a shot at that. I mean, I don't know how to get
Maybe it was
D, can you call
league.
D? Just I got new business cards coming. Throw that someplace on there. All right. I like that.
Let's rewind the tape. We got to see if that was in
yeah.
I could have swore he said elite.
I think he said a lead instructor.
Lead.
Oh,
that's
a
right.
lead instructor.
A
Yes,
lead.
yeah.
That's right.
He's
That's
from
right.
Chicago. I can't understand a word he says, anyways. But
Sorry
now that we're
about
on the
that.
subject, Lee, D, Lee, elite D. How about you start calling us that? Bona's elite instructors. I
gotta
like
get-
that a lot. That's got a
has a
Yeah.
good sound to it, but you know what happens is that the minute we start introducing ourselves that way, contractors be like, well, man, there's not a bit of humility in these guys at all. They just think that they know it all and they are so elite that, man, we don't even know if we can contend
Live
here.
up to that.
Yeah, live up to that. Hey, one thing I'd like to mention also, we have a new Fuse platform that at the end of our trainings that we there's a QR code that the contractors can scan, and it's kind of like a way of continuing education, not quite CEUs, but similar to that. And what it does is it allows them, it's kind of I won't say like a Facebook type of platform where we're going to be posting a lot of videos on there. There's options for contractors to comment and share, not only comment on things that they've done, ask questions. They can ask the expert in the different departments within Bona. They can also share, some of the things that they've done, showcase them and different features. But we will have a lot of training videos that will also, be shown and showcased on that Fuse platform. So it's our job at our schools to make sure that the guys are aware of that, get them signed up, because I think it's a really a nice addition to a way of continuing their education. I know we tried e-learning for a while and that worked out okay, but this platform is a lot different than that e-learning platform that we had in the past. So I'm excited about that. I know Todd and his team have done a really great job on getting content on there. And so I'm excited to make sure that contractors know that training just doesn't stop at the schools that they come to. They can continue to receive and share information on this Fuse platform.
You and I have both seen so many guys during our classes. I mean, up on the panels, taking notes, trying to get everything in. So many times I've said to guys, hey, it's all in that book there, the book we give you. And they're taking notes like crazy. And I think, sometimes we just show them so much over 3 days that, it's really hard to keep track of everything. And that's what I'm really excited about the Fuse program is now they have a chance to go back and see and really be able to dial in what we talked about in the school, or if it's something that comes up, a couple months down the road, they'll be able to jump on Fuse and get a little bit of a refresher. So, man, I think they're just going to go just hand in hand. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, just that, to be able, we used to run a 4-day school. Man, we can probably run a 5-day school. I mean, there's so much information that we like to share and like to hear from our contractors. Always tell the story about Wayne and how he learned floors with the Stan Says, the book that he had, his Uncle Stan. He was kind of taking notes that way. But I mean, there's just so much information. It's hard to remember everything that we've been taught. So, but yeah, I think this Fuse platform is going to be another way that, they can go back. Man, we may even have start putting marketing materials on there, for contractors that, that they get the initial packet at the school. But there's just going to be so many ways of using this platform to help guys stay engaged and not only, like I say, to learn from us, but to share what they're doing. I know they do a Friday question every every week just to kind of make sure guys are kind of staying in touch. And it's a great platform.
And there's also videos of Wayne too.
Should
So
be.
if you can't get enough video, you can't get enough of Wayne on the podcast or the old podcast, now he's on the Fuse platform.
Yes.
He's everywhere, man.
www.wayne.com. The thing about if people are thinking about training or maybe I'll be too busy to do training this year, or maybe I don't know if I want to take the time off. We say this a lot, that you have a certain amount of time in your career to make your money, and the faster you can get into that zone where you're most competitive, you're doing your best quality work, and if you can get there quicker and stay there longer, or if you're a guy who's been in the trade for a long time, holy smokes! I mean, I there's no doubt in my mind I could sit in Mike's class and Rob's class and Dee's class, and I would learn something every week, because a scenario will come up classes are not. I mean, every class has almost like a life of its own. You know what I mean? And it'll go down a direction, and you'll learn. Gosh, man, I didn't even think about that. And you'll learn about a certain technique because somebody will bring it up. So the class is very interactive, and it's so cool, and see how these things take off. And for Michael's sake, I mean, really came along at the perfect time. And Dee, got this whole thing worked out so much better. I mean, when I started, Rob had already been with Bona for quite some time. And the first time I traveled with Rob, it was a rental car, and I'll never forget. And it was in Chicago, as a matter of fact. It was freezing. And he opened up the trunk and he said, "Those bags aren't going to get to my room by themselves." He turned around and walked off. So Dee took all that hazing stuff out of it altogether, which is what we all appreciate.
You never know where he's going, gentlemen. You never know where he's going. He just sneaks up, and it's a bat to the back of the head. You never see him coming, ever. That's what I love about him.
It's so nice to see Dee here smiling, because Michigan is going to hang such a loss on Ohio State next week. That
Oh boy!
Wow!
So
jeez,
nice to see why things are happy right now. The game.
Like I said, Dee, you never see him coming. You never see this guy coming.
And the way I heard it is that Michigan is going to take such a loss this week, is what I thought he said. And I was thinking, yeah, you're right. And I'll keep on smiling, because you just saw what we did to Michigan State. So Michigan, just get in line and take your butt whooping as well. OH, come on, Wayne. I know you know the rest.
Yeah. I don't know that fight song. Okay, well, thank you guys very much, and Dee, thanks again. I mean, really, I've said before, when I traveled with, you're the first person I really knew at Bona was Todd Schutte, and then it was Dee Lenston, and when I knew how I felt about you and everything, and then I got a chance to travel with you and realize how well respected you are across this whole trade. Everywhere we went, everybody knew Dee and had a class and had a story about you. So it shows what a class guy you are. And no mystery why you're running this program and why you've done such a great job with it. And you've got a solid team, and I'm excited for everybody here. And I want to show Michael off for anybody that doesn't know him. I want people to come and get a chance to meet him, and it's just going to be a great year for you guys. So congratulations.
Hey, thanks, Wayne. It's just a team. I mean, really, everything we do is just team oriented, not just within my department, but just within the company. And that's what I love about Bona, is that, we're all in it together, one Bona, just really supporting one another. And I think, and that's the approach I have when I train, when I travel, even if they're customers, I want them to feel like they're part of the Bona team. And I think that we're one manufacturer that has the whole system that can really offer that to the contractor to make them feel like, man, I want to be on the Bona team. So that's what I love about it.
And Rob, maybe we can also get some of the younger lads that you have in the program training, that we can kind of talk to them as well, because super respectful, great guys, man. I mean, just high character guys. And you just, like I said, you're such a strong team. So I'll let it go at that. I've gone on about it, but
we don't want to make them too strong, because they get strong and then they're gone.
Yeah, well,
Dee and I are, D and I are like AAA coaches. Just when we get that pitcher, man, who's on a winning streak and everything, gone. There they go.
You just had to enjoy Michael while you got him. That's all I'm going to say.
oh boy.
No. He ain't going anywhere.
That's right.
We know how it is. We
He's
train
dug in
them
the
up.
trenches with the old guys.
Yeah, we train them
He is
up.
now a AAA coach too. I didn't even get to ask you, Mike, if you sanded your own floor of the year.
Oh,
well, we
wow.
know we know that. We know that.
That was the worst.
We know that, and a true professional does his own work.
Oh, that's Hey, listen, thanks everybody. I appreciate it. Thanks for your time, guys. And appreciate you having us on the time. But Dee, I know how you're crazy busy with your schedule. So thank you, sir, very much. Yep. And thank you, Michael. Look forward. We'll see you down the road. So this has been another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob and Dee and Michael. And please stay tuned for another episode.